Dillian the Body Snatcher right here. It's a champ. Big up to Sporting Icon. Subscribe. Otherwise, I might pay you guys a visit.
So former WBC heavyweight champion of the world and British legend is urging the WBC to give Dillian Whyte his world title shot. So he's echoing what pretty much the rest of the boxing world is saying outside of the Wilder fans. Dillian Whyte deserves his world title shot at the WBC champion, currently Deontay Wilder. Yes, he's a paper champion, of course he is, because we all know Tyson Fury beat him and Tyson Fury got robbed. Is what it is. But ultimately, as of today, 591 days, Dillian Whyte has been number one in the WBC and has yet to have a world title shot. As I said yesterday, how many people in the history of heavyweight boxing has been this long at number one and not been given a world title shot? It's never happened. Never happened. And these days are adding up. Now, the WBC, they have offered him an interim title to become the official mandatory by fighting Oscar Rivas. Now, that's great. That is a step in the right direction for sure. But how much longer is he going to have to wait for the WBC world title shot? Now, whether or not you believe Dillian Whyte beats Wilder or Wilder beats Dillian, it's irrelevant. It really is irrelevant. But the fact is, it's the right thing to do. It's the fair thing to do. Because the longer that Dillian Whyte's not getting that world title shot and keep having to jump through hoop after hoop, when other people don't, they keep getting their world title shots, it makes the WBC look real bad. We know that they're protecting Wilder. Wilder is allowed to fight whoever he wants, whenever he wants. He's the only champion I know that gets a free reign. It's unbelievable, it really is. But it's good if these guys actually fight. Deontay Wilder versus Dillian Whyte for the WBC heavyweight title. And it's good for all sides. But it seems that Team Wilder and the WBC don't understand this part. For me personally, I think Dillian Whyte beats him, stops him, knocks him cold out. That's my honest opinion. But again, it's irrelevant how I think the fight's going to go. But it's good for both sets of fans, both fighters, the WBC, and boxing as a whole. Because if I'm right and Dillian Whyte beats him, the landscape changes again. Finally, Wilder has been in a fight that he should be in as WBC champion. A legitimate fight. Luis Ortiz was not a legitimate fight. Luis Ortiz was failing the medical the first time around, 1 hour before the ring walk. Fact. And now he's going to get another world title shot ahead of Dillian Whyte next. Tyson Fury was never ranked by the WBC when he beat Vladimir Klitschko. He wasn't ranked by the WBC. He spends 2.5, 3 years out of the ring, comes back, fights Seferi, Francesco Pianeta, and then gets a world title shot. Come on now, that ain't right. Yes, Tyson Fury beat him. Tyson Fury exceeded my expectations for it, and I'm real proud of Tyson for it. Very, very proud of him. But now he was given an opportunity to rematch him straight away. Tyson, to be brutally honest, said no, and he went a different route. So why is he then going to fight Wilder after Luis Ortiz ahead of Dillian Whyte? It just isn't right. It isn't right. But going back to what's good for him. So Dillian Whyte beats Wilder. The landscape changes. Dillian Whyte, we finally have a legitimate WBC heavyweight champion after how many years now? 4.5, coming up 5 years. There's that one. Also, if Wilder does beat Dillian Whyte, guess what? He has a credible name on his resume that he's beaten. His stock will go through the roof because at the minute, his stock is plateaued. Because most people look at Wilder now saying that you're a paper champion. Americans recognise that they want to support Wilder, but he's given them nothing back. He's not fighting the legitimate fighters. You fight Dillian Whyte, you beat Dillian Whyte, your stock goes through the roof. As I said, Tyson Fury beat him. Most people know that. Most people know that he's carrying around a title that he shouldn't even have. But he is. So fight Dillian Whyte. The first time in Wilder's career he will be taking on the number one in the WBC. The number one. And the silver champion. Listen, first things first, he does have to get past Oscar Rivas. Let's not pretend he don't. Let's not overlook this one. Oscar Rivas is a very, very serious threat. A lot of people don't realise that because they haven't watched Oscar Rivas, which is fair enough. But believe me, he's a very, very dangerous opponent. But Dillian Whyte takes these fights. Well, he doesn't have to. He can go fight some German, but he doesn't. He's fighting Oscar Rivas. Before, he fought 2 fights with Derek Chisora. Derek Chisora was ranked highly in the WBC on both occasions. Lucas Brown, also former undefeated world champion, was ranked highly in the WBC. Joseph Parker only lost 1 fight beforehand in the unification against Anthony Joshua and was ranked highly in the WBC. Robert Helenius was tipped to be the next replacement for Vladimir Klitschko. So who's done more than Dillian Whyte? And I don't think many people would disagree with that unless you're a real hater, which you have to be honest. Name one fighter out there who deserves a title shot at Wilder more than Dillian Whyte. Nobody. And the WBC have been freezing him out, or sorry, they have been allowing Wilder to freeze him out. And it shouldn't be that way. So Frank Bruno saying that to the WBC, you need to be giving this man a world title shot is absolutely correct. Because if Wilder is allowed to fight Luis Ortiz in September, and then 2 fights with Tyson Fury, as we do know that's what the contract offer is, according to Bob Arum, that's 3 fights. So you're talking, what, another 18 months to 2 years before Dillian Whyte gets a world title shot. Is Dillian Whyte going to keep on winning between now and then, considering the level of opposition that he's fighting? Hopefully. But even if he does, that's 6 years Wilder as WBC champion if he wins all those fights with only 2 mandatories. Come on, people. It's not complicated. WBC, you need to pull your socks up. You need to say, right, okay, so Dillian Whyte, if you defeat Oscar Rivas, you will get Wilder next. Wilder, fine, go ahead, go fight Luis Ortiz. If that's what you want to do, you do that, and then straight after you are fighting Dillian Whyte at the end of the year. We're going to close 2019. We want to close the chapter on this one. For me, Dillian Whyte destroys him. For other people, Wilder destroys Dillian Whyte. Well, let's see. Let's see. At least then, the number 1 has had a world title shot. At least then, Wilder's resume will be something worth looking at. At least then, Wilder has fought a legitimate opponent. His stock will go through the roof, which is why I'm saying it's a win-win for both sides, for all sides. Dillian Whyte fans such as myself. If Wilder beats Dillian Whyte, congratulations to Deontay Wilder. Maybe you are the real deal. Right now, we look on him as a paper champion who got done by a guy who was out the ring for 3 years. Anyway, that's my thoughts on it. Quite clearly, Frank Bruno agrees. Do you agree? Drop your thoughts below, click thumbs up, and of course subscribe. Catch you all on the next video.